Good evening, boys and girls. Well, guess what? Something that I pre-ordered a while ago, and I'm sure a lot of you pre-ordered if you jumped on it fast enough, has finally arrived, and it came in this big old box right here. And we're gonna unbox it and unveil it in all of its awesomeness. But first, I'm gonna show you a few super quick things that I picked up, and then we'll get into the main event. So first up, we have one from Amazon, and that is Jet Li's Hero here, which these Paramount re-releases of the Miramax catalog, they kind of were backed up in their shipments, but they are gradually coming back, or they're trickling down the line as far as when they're finally arriving at my place. And then next up we have two eBay ones. Hellraiser Revelations, which is the 9th one, and then Hellraiser Judgment, which is the 10th one. All I'm waiting on now is Hellraiser Deader, which is the 7th one. And that way I will have all of the Hellraiser films, so that'll be pretty cool. And these are not necessarily easy to find. Well, Hellraiser Revelations is a little bit easier, but this one with the slip is not easy to find, so I'm glad that I have that. And then the discs only for these are coming through eBay, but I printed off this custom cover, just wanted to show you. Knocked Up and This Is 40, which they both, you can tell it's a custom cover because there's no barcode, but these are both technically in the same continuity, waiting for the discs to arrive. They're both in the same continuity, so I thought it would be kind of weird if they were next to each other, like the individual releases, so that way they're all in one little package there. And then three super quick Dollar Tree pickups found in the Name of Ben-Hur, which was the Asylum's knockoff of the 2016 remake of Ben-Hur. It's always neat to see what the Asylum does, you know, when a new big blockbuster movie's coming out. I wonder if this one will be better than the 2016 Ben-Hur. That sucked. Next up, I wanted to see this movie when it was new in Walmart, but I'm glad I got it for $1, and that's a movie called Supercon, which has some people in it that I like Maggie Grace and Clancy Brown and John Malkovich, who I love, and seems like a cool, I guess, send-up of superheroes and the cosplaying / convention scene. Kind of a no-frills disc there. And then last up for Dollar Tree, Trailer Park Shark with our dear Tara Reid, who is no stranger to the sharksploitation genre and to the Sci-Fi Channel original movies. So that's all of the super quick stuff. Now let's get into the main event, shall we? You see this big old boy? That baby came from Shout Factory's website. That's right. It is what you think it is. And it is what the title says that it is. It is the complete Friday the 13th set. The one that had the now if you pre-ordered it like I did in those early days of when it was announced. If you pre-ordered it early enough, then you got that poster that came with the set. And I'm just opening it up with my handy-dandy scissors here. Yeah, if you ordered it early enough, you got this super cool poster. And, you know, here's the thing. So, like, I had that out-of-print Paramount set, which I unboxed on this channel some months ago. I ended up selling that one for quite a bit less than I paid for it, which sucked, but, you know, what are you gonna do? I didn't expect this to exist, but I, you know, sold that one, got this one knowing that it was coming out. There we go. Get that out of the way. Sorry. This thing is cumbersome, but as you can see on the inside, it says Scream Factory Deluxe Edition. It's got the box set there, and it's got the poster in the poster tube. Sorry about that. It's just very cumbersome. And before we go on, I am gonna take a drink from the Drink of Unboxing Champions here because I'm gonna need it. There's a lot to unpack in this one. So as you can see, we have the actual Friday the 13th box set, which all you horror hounds out there, I know that you're freaking out about, which, you know, how could you not, because it's a beautiful package. It is on par with the one that they did for the Halloween series, and it's very much in that same vein. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, the set that we had, the Paramount one, the Paramount / New Line Cinema one, the one that we had before, you know, that one was pretty sweet in and of itself. But this one, I mean, Shout Factory, they're always going to go above and beyond. So let's take a look-see, shall we? So we've got all the movies all in their own chronological order there. I'm just going to give you a minute or two to peruse the beautiful artwork here. Which, how many of you out there are really big Friday the 13th fans? I suspect most of you. I prefer Halloween. Like, it's a series that I need to get through all of it. The last one that I was on was part 8. I still need to get through all of them, but it's one of those things that I think Halloween overall is a better series, but, you know, Friday the 13th still has its place. It's got its hardcore fans, and particularly because the series was never really beloved by the mainstream in any way, didn't really ever get a lot of good press or anything, and so I think that's part of why people that love it, why they love it so much, because they, you know, no respect. They got no respect. And I'm just going to show you this cardboard here just to give you a little bit of better look on what the packaging comes in for those of you who pre-ordered it. Now, if I recall, the version of the set that came with this poster here, which I'll just go ahead and show you, the version of it that came with this poster, I guess that it sold out pretty fast. And see, I wasn't even planning on, because I didn't know it was gonna come out. I wasn't planning on making it because this wasn't cheap, but at the same time, it's a lot cheaper than it would have been if I'd have waited and then it went out of print, you know, then it would get ridiculous. And this particular one with the poster, it was such that it's like if I didn't jump on it, then I would hate myself for the rest of my life. And again, like Friday the 13th, it's not even necessarily my favorite, you know, slasher series, but at the same time, it's one of those ones that I imagine if I watch it, you know, many times, I bet that, you know, it kind of grows on you. The one that I really think is a legitimately great film is Part 6, Jason Lives, because I like the, see, I'm normally not a fan of meta humor and, like, breaking the fourth wall, like, too much or too often, but that is an example of how to do that really well. Like, the lines of dialogue, like, they are pretty funny and a pretty good commentary on the slasher genre and on the series itself, but the lines that they use, the lines of dialogue in the film, they don't feel like they are things that are going too far out of their way for the kinds of things that those characters could really be saying in those moments. So it's just done very skillfully. And holy shit, look how massive this is. And wait a minute, are there 2 of these? Or is this like a multi-faceted thing? It's so big, I can barely fit it in the frame. So we're gonna have to look at this thing piecemeal. But anyway, so that's the gorgeous artwork here in all of its glory. I have to show it to you piece by piece because it is so massive. But as we know, Shout Factory, they go above and beyond with this stuff. I might have to do once I get this framed, I'll have to show it off in more detail because the artwork is just so beautiful and so multifaceted that it's like, it's worth owning for that purpose alone. And of course the artwork on the box. And then, oh gee, look at that. There's another poster here, which that one I did not expect. How cool is that? 40th anniversary of the first one with the iconic ending. Spoiler alert. But, man, I'm gonna have to, get some nice frames for these, because these are posters that, you know, they don't come along, they're pretty hard to come by after that initial run. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to take good care of those. But anyway, so let's get on to the movies themselves, shall we? So, again, I'm going into this, you're learning everything along with me. And now, what's interesting, compared to the Halloween series, the set that Scream Factory put out, so if you notice, they got the clear cases. The Halloween one, they had black cases, which, you know, doesn't matter. It's just, either way, it kind of sets them apart from the rest. So, as we can see here, we've got our 2 discs here. Got the uncut version and the theatrical version. And, of course, we got our reversible cover here, which is really cool. Now, these individual Blu-rays, they don't have any barcodes and stuff because they're not meant to be sold separately. They're meant to be all one big set, of course, so you don't need them. But, yeah, I really love with these sets how they always include the original theatrical poster, because oftentimes the theatrical poster will be so iconic that when a movie, when the studio releases it on home video, when they don't use that poster, I get kind of miffed, because I'm like, you know, why did you have to not use what we all know? And then well, I'll give you some quick thoughts on the ones that I've seen. I'm not quite finished with part 8. I want to start them all over again and watch them all in a row. But from what I recall when I was getting through them, the first one, you know, it's the one that started it all. It's not my personal favorite or anything, but I can see why it started what it started. And obviously it was impressive for as low budget as it was. It's, again, it's not as good as like Halloween, but again, it started something that really took on a life of its own. The second one, I think, is a better movie. It was only a little bit more expensive than the first one, but this is where you get to see Jason finally, but he doesn't have his hockey mask yet. He has the burlap sack look, which I like that, but I think the hockey mask, obviously, that's what's so iconic. But I like the second one better than the first one. Part 3 in 3D. Now, if I recall, so what makes this one particularly cool, this release of it, is that the Paramount one, the Paramount New Line Cinema release that we saw before, only had the Anaglyph 3D version of it, the one with the glasses that, was not all that great, and it was kind of a cheap way to do it. But this one has a new 4K scan, and it has an actual Blu-ray 3D transfer. So if you do have a 3D television, which I am sorry to say I don't, but I would like one, just for, this kind of thing. But if you have a 3D television, you can finally watch it in 3D, like in good 3D, even better than it was when it was released initially. And this is the one that debuts Hockey Mask Jason, and it is really gimmicky with its 3D because it's got stuff like constantly coming at you, all during the movie, but then again, it's like, that I suppose is what you could reasonably expect from a 3D film of its era. And then got Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which it wasn't even remotely close to being the final chapter. And you gotta love that, James Rolfe made this point, gotta love the fact that they've never tried to retroactively change the title. They've kept it as the final chapter, even though it wasn't remotely close to that. And this is the one that introduces Tommy Jarvis, and he's the closest that we get to something kind of resembling a, character that endures throughout the movies besides Jason himself. And there's definitely good parts to this one. I mean, I think the series as a whole, it's one of those things that it works in, like, it's not so much about one movie that stands out in particular, except for maybe part 6. I think that one you could just enjoy as its own movie. and the first one, of course. But like generally speaking, I think the Friday the 13th series, those movies tend to work best as a series. You know, just something that keeps on going. And it's not like, say, with Halloween where you can, you know, more or less pluck certain ones individually out and enjoy them for that. And then part 5, A New Beginning there, which that's adult Tommy Jarvis, or young adult Tommy Jarvis, and that's the one with the whole plot revolves around a chocolate bar. And this one has some of the more batshit insane moments with some of the most batshit insane characters of the series. And spoiler alert, the killer is not Jason in this film, which is kind of interesting because the killer's not Jason in the first one. It's Mrs. Voorhees, and the killer is a copycat in this one, so that's kind of neat. And then my personal favorite of the ones that I've seen, Jason Lives. This is how you do meta humor correctly, and I think that the Alice Cooper songs really help the film. The score is really good. I mean, the score throughout the series is good, but it's especially good here. Love the opening credit sequence, how they spoof James Bond, but in a pretty clever way, in a way that you don't expect. And if you don't know that it's a James Bond spoof, it still works. So that's a good thing. And that again, that's how you do spoof humor correctly. You know, if you don't know what the spoof is, then it still works as a story. And yeah, the Alice Cooper songs are great. It's just, yeah, I think it's, as far as like a single movie, if you only had to see one Friday the 13th film, I would recommend this one. And again, Tommy Jarvis, but there's no outside of like a little flash of Corey Feldman in 5, because he played him in 4. Outside of a little flash of him in the beginning, no two actors. You know, they keep changing actors for Tommy Jarvis, so again, it becomes hard to kind of attach yourself to him. And then this is one that doesn't really get as good a reviews, but I actually like this one quite a lot. It was Part 7, The New Blood, and I guess that they described it as Jason versus Carrie, which is very true because the girl has psychic powers, and I think that's a pretty interesting idea. I also like the fact that this is the only one, again, that's the picture that was used on the LJN game, as James Rolfe pointed out. You know, I like the fact that, so part of the appeal, I guess, for fans of the series is that Jason is so unstoppable, and it's all about, you know, wanting to see him, you know, kill people in grisly ways and stuff like that. But I like the fact that our protagonist here, that she has supernatural powers as well. And Jason's power is just that he's so unstoppable and that he pretty much can't die. But like, with her, it's like, I like that, you know, they're pretty evenly matched as far as protagonist and antagonist. And then this is the one that I was in the middle of. I haven't finished it. I'm about maybe a little over halfway through, but it's Jason Takes Manhattan, which was filmed in either Vancouver or Toronto. I can't remember which, but they only had like a few minutes in actual Manhattan itself because, well, guess what? Shooting in Manhattan is fucking expensive, and that's why you had to shoot in Vancouver. I think it was Vancouver, if I recall. Correct me if I'm wrong, but point being that, like, I know that Rumble in the Bronx had to do that because again, Manhattan is fucking expensive to shoot in, let alone live in, let alone travel in. You know, it's just bloody expensive, and it's only gotten more expensive as time has gone on, so they could only afford to shoot like maybe 2 days, and that's why a lot of it takes place on a boat, much to the chagrin of the people watching the movie. And then that was all for the Paramount ones, and then they changed over to New Line Cinema, bought the franchise rights with Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, which I know is kind of a divisive sequel. And I know the basic plot of it, just gotta get to it, of course. And then we have, again, unrated and theatrical versions there, which it's nice that they include that. Now, all of these Paramount ones, that's kind of an interesting, very slightly different reversible cover there. So the deal with, so all 8 of the Paramount ones, I guess that Paramount still holds the rights to these, because after that one box set that had all of them, after that one went out of print, then Paramount put out a box set of all the ones that they still owned the rights to, and then New Line Cinema, they re-released Freddy vs. Jason, and the 2009 remake, which they own the rights to, but not as far as individual releases, not Jason Goes to Hell and not Jason X, for reasons that I don't really understand, because that made these kind of, much sought after items if you couldn't get the set that went out of print. But luckily, again, now we've got them all in one place. And so it's interesting with these reversible covers. So it seems like the only thing that's really different on this one anyway, not so much like the front cover, not so much, but what's on the back part of the inside. So there's a little bit of difference there. And this is the one that I know that it kind of goes into sci-fi territory, and I've seen his like Mecha Jason or whatever it's called. I've seen that costume. Looks like something out of Power Rangers, like Lord Zed or something. And then this is one that I know that fans of the series were looking forward to for a long time, Freddy vs. Jason. I'm looking forward to finally watching this. I wanted to see it ever since I first heard about it, all way back when. Now, it looks like, it's interesting. Again, these are brand new. You saw it. I didn't do anything. Seems like this is just there's no Scream Factory logo on this, so maybe this is just the standard release of Freddy vs. Jason. I don't know. But anybody that had an older version can tell me. And then, of course, the remake, which I know combines elements from the first, 3, at least. And I know that it, now this, I know, is a previous release. So, okay, they got a little lazy on those two. I'll have to deduct a few points because of that. That was kind of lazy to just recycle the same discs there that are on the standard releases of these. But again, they must have put all their energy into all the other ones, that those last two, they were like, yeah, fuck it. And they're also relatively recent films, so they didn't probably have to do all that much in terms of restoration. I know with the Rob Zombie Halloween ones, they didn't have to do much, so they probably put all their energy into the old ones, making them really good and great restoration, and the 3D with the third one and interviews and stuff, but still, it's a little inconsistent. And then finally, we have the bonus material, just the separate disc, which actually 2 separate discs. Look at that. I got 2 separate discs full of bonus features, which that was another thing that you couldn't really recreate with the Halloween set. Same kind of thing. They had separate bonus discs. And similar to the Halloween set, we have a nice little booklet here. How nice is that? Full of pictures and words and things that, if you have this set, you can surely peruse. I obviously will have to read this at a different time. But yeah, so that does it for this particular Halloween, or Friday the 13th set, but in time for Halloween. Which of the Friday the 13th films is your favorite? Is it your favorite slasher franchise? Am I crazy for preferring Halloween over it? You tell me in the comments, please. And so yeah, did you pre-order this particular version of it? The one that came with those cool posters that I could only barely show you because they were so massive? Or did you buy it off of Amazon or someplace else because it was a little cheaper? Either way, let me know in the comments. Hopefully you got your if you did pre-order it from Scream Factory, hopefully you got yours in a reasonable amount of time. Mine actually arrived surprisingly fast. Normally, shipments from Scream Factory don't come that quickly, but anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed that. If you like this, then please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, set phasers to stun, warp factor 5. I will see you in the next video, and stay safe, everyone. I am going to finish off my drink of Unboxing Champions, and I'm going to try to not have Jason kill me in the midst of everything.